Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me in this Introduction to Confluence webinar. My name is Tony Hartsfield. I am a certified Atlassian professional and a consultant at Valiantys. Valiantys is a platinum solutions partner with Atlassian. This hour that we're going to spend together, we'll be diving into the world of Confluence. I'm going to start with the real basics, uh, especially if you're new to the tool, to help you get started and up and running. And then we'll start to see how these tools combine to be really a useful tool to leverage Confluence within your teams and your organization itself. So the agenda for the day, for the hour together, first off, we'll just talk about what is Confluence itself, and then we'll spend a little bit of time about the editing capabilities of it. Um, and from the editing capabilities, we'll jump into a couple of demo sites where you'll see how it really can be used for customized reporting for your teams, for your project leads, etc. It can also be a content portal as we talk about different ways that you can manage the content on your Confluence spaces. And then last year, Confluence introduced a few new features, and we'll take a look at some of those new features briefly. So automation rules, whiteboards, databases, smart links, and an introduction to AI capabilities. So we'll see those things. After we see all of the features that come with Confluence, we'll probably need to talk briefly about governance. We'll have a few guidelines that we might steer you with to help you organize and structure your Confluence instance. And then we'll try to wrap up with enough time at the end for a Q&A session. If you do have questions, there is a Q&A module in this Zoom meeting that if you'd like to use that. So as you are coming across questions, you can simply post those in there, and then I'll take a look at those questions at the end of our time together. So, but first off, let's talk about what Confluence is. Atlassian developed Confluence. It's a wiki-style editing tool that is basically designed to do a couple of different things. One, it's a documentation tool that you can document your processes and your information regarding your projects. It's an information sharing content portal, basically, which can be done in a couple of ways. One, again, for your projects for reporting, but you can also do it for if you are using Jira Service Management. This is a great place for your knowledge base articles to be placed. And then when your customers are making requests in your JSM projects in the help portal, they seamlessly can see knowledge base articles without having to have a Confluence license themselves to see those. And so that becomes a great tool for that. Um, as as you see me demonstrate, and I'm going to be moving pretty fast with a lot of stuff, but you're going to see that this tool is very flexible. It's very customizable, um, and really it can suit the needs of your organization as you are trying to use Confluence to assist your teams with disseminating information about that. Um, an illustration, by the way. Uh, s- Prior to something like Confluence, the question was going to be, where do your people get their information? So where is that policy? Well, did you go to our intranet site? Who do I talk to about this particular form? Well, did you not read the email that we sent you 3 months ago to tell you to go find those things? The idea that information is in disparate locations where versus where something like Confluence, your people can go to a central location and get access to all that information without having to remember where it all is. And so this information may or may not live in the Confluence instance itself, but you can have access to them through the Confluence settings. And so this is hopefully that's a useful illustration of what you're going to do. Um, if you are familiar with, say, for instance, Jira or other Atlassian products, Jira works in containers called projects, which is your team at work, and then it has issues, which is the actual bits of work that your team works on. In a similar concept, um, Confluence is built of what's called spaces. That's the container. And then inside the spaces, it has essentially pages, but we'll also see some of the other new features that are on there as well, so that you can manage those. Um, the pages come in a variety of forms. We'll talk about templates. We'll talk about formatting. Um, it can have basic text. It can have links to external resources, um, reference other Confluence pages. You can have attachments, images. And then we'll also see that there's a lot of content that allows you to format the look and the navigation of the pages as well. So there's a lot that we can see that's in there. So now the question then becomes, well, maybe who should have a space in your Confluence instance? Well, we're going to talk about governance toward the end, and we definitely recommend a governance space, which basically helps your organization understand how you're going to use Confluence. Um, it could be the actual projects from your project office. It could be the team that works on the projects. It could be a combination of those, the team and the projects that they work on, be working together. There are also several good uses for non-IT, for just departments. Your accounting department, your HR department could also house their information management in Confluence as well. And then the option of having a personal space, which comes standard with a cloud license, where you can have work in progress. If you're using Confluence for crowdsourcing or for the social aspects of it, blogging, etc., then personal spaces is also quite useful in that setting. Um, Full disclosure, by the way, as far as the licensing goes, I've mentioned that in the previous. My demonstration here is in a premium Confluence license, which does have a couple of features that do not come with standard, like the AI, like the um, whiteboards come with both instances, but you have a few more additional functions on the premium license, databases, uh, automation rules, etc. So there's some things that do come exclusive to a uh, a premium license. So let's start taking a look at the basic Confluence capabilities with text. And by the way, this is, by the way, a space. And I'm just going to go to another page on this space. Um, So first off, just to know, a lot of the basic wiki style editing tools are there. So you have the ability to have a title on your page. There are headings that you can use for both organizing your page and for layouts, things, and can be used for things like table of contents, etc. Um, you have bullets and numbering. Um, all the basic items that you've done there. Um, there's something called action items. In fact, I'm going to open up the editing tool of this in just a moment so you can see what some of these things that we can see. But the action items that you can mention someone in your instance, you can have a date setting on there. Here I see that a date has expired and it's showing up in red on me from there. Um, and these particular action items, when someone is mentioned, they get a notification uh, in either email or in their in-app notifications saying that they have an assignment that they can work on. And then you simply can check them off when they're completed to do so. Another common feature is something called simultaneous editing, and that is, if I can show you something here. There we go. Um, because this is in a common location that your people in your instance have access to, then this allows people to be able to work in the document at the same time. Um, a couple of examples is how we use it at Valiantys. We have we'll often have our weekly sync meetings with our clients, and we'll have a meeting notes page up and running. And it's very normal for more than one of our team members to be in the page itself taking notes. So while one person is presenting one of the points, the other person is taking notes on it, or while someone's taking notes on the discussion, someone else is taking notes on the action items that are going to come out of it. We also do it when we're working on documents together, just to process them together. And so it's a useful tool to have simultaneous editing. Um, Another visual tool that's in here is the ability to comment. And this is a comment that was on the page itself. It's really simple to simply select text and then choose to comment and create new comments on the page itself. Um, and this is for both in published mode and in edit mode, which is a great additional feature that comes with cloud Confluence versus data center, is that you could be editing the document and you can also comment in there. And in those comments, you can um, mention someone so that they can be notified that that's you hoping for their input on the particular document or to make additional edits. And then uh, once the comment has been resolved, you have the ability to resolve it. Um, and then it still remains in the metadata of the page so that you can also see completed work that's on there. Um, as I'm looking at this page, I'm seeing also a couple of other features, and I'm going to go ahead and open this page in edit mode so that you can kind of see how the sausage gets made in the back end. So here's the editing toolbar across the top, and you'll see you got your basic text formatting options. Um, there's bullets, numbering, indenting. Here's that action item tool, linking images, mentioning people, emoji, layouts. This is a feature that allows you to not only manage the content, but manage the location of the content. And so this layout tool, this is a right sidebar layout. You have two columns, three columns, right or left sidebar, or two sidebars. Um, and this is a right sidebar column. So here's the text on the left, and then additional content on the right-hand side. This is a table which you have, you're able to either click the button to create a simple 3 by 3 table, or you can manage to make it as big or small as you need to with that. You have heading rows, heading columns, numbered columns if you want to. And along with this comes the ability to take this particular data and create simple charts from it. Here's a bar chart. Here is the same information in a pie chart. And so just ways to visualize that information. If you're going to have it anyway, you can place that in there from there. So great tools for for managing both the content and the layout of the content. As far as commenting goes, I do want to show you one other aspect of commenting, and that is at the bottom of the page, let me go to the bottom real quick, is the ability to add comments as well. So if you're not commenting on specific content on the page, at the bottom you can actually have threaded comments, and you have access to uh, the same formatting toolbar, so you can actually make very interesting uh, visually looking comments to help people understand the conversation that's going on there to make your point more clearly. And then let me go back into edit mode and talk about links. Sorry to make you seasick. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. Confluence handles linking extremely well. It's just a matter of really, there's not even the need to use the link tool. You can simply just paste a link. And you have different types of linking. From there, you can link to an internal page. Um, this is just simply another Confluence page itself. And even that, how it's displayed, you have the ability to see it as the what's called the inline You can have just the URL. There's something called the card, which this is the card itself. And then finally, you have something which is called embed, where you can embed the entire contents of a page onto this particular Confluence Space page. Um, but the content lives in that original location. And this speaks to one of the governance topics that we talk about is that the content should really be managed in one location, but you can display it in as many locations as you need to. And that's one of the ways to do it. And so great ways to manage those things. Here are external links. This is a link to our Valiantys site. But again, you have the ability to, this is what's called the card site, which you can see there. Um, but it can also be, you can see the inline. You can see just the URL if you wanted to. I like this idea of the card because it even grabs the ICO file, the image that websites will tend to use, a little preview of the page itself. Um, you can also link to documents. I'll talk about attachments in just a little bit, but the idea about what if you could link to a document that's already lives in your document repository, wherever that happens to be. In this case, this is a Google Doc because we have a Google Docs folders that we use. It could be your Dropbox, your Box files, SharePoint, Teams, etc., where you put in, and then you have the ability to put a link to it. Or if this is an embedded document, that same doc, but just how it's displayed. So this is the what's called the inline. This is the embed. And with the embed, you can not only display the document, but if you have edit rights to it, you can actually edit the document. In this case, it lives on the Google Docs folder, but I can edit it from the Confluence page as long as I have the permission to view it and edit it from there. So a great tool for handling that. Um, Confluence does a really good job of handling media files if it recognizes that it's an audio or a video file. And this is one of our YouTube channel videos that I placed in here. Um, but it might be a file that's on, maybe you have Microsoft Stream or you have a learning management system and you contain your video content. You could put a link to it in the Confluence page and it would embed as video so they could watch it without having to leave the Confluence page itself. So another great tool for handling that. And then of course things like it handles any other email options that you can do. Um, uh, that you can manage from there. It's just a matter, there's some basic formatting for setting up your email from there. So that's linking. Um, Great tool. Um, there is a new feature that came out, I think last year with Confluence, is that an entire page could be dedicated to a link. And so here, instead of embedding it, it's just simply as its own page that's in there. And I just want to show you that there are lots of things that you can do with this. You can connect to all kinds of different tools that you have access to, a Miro board, Trello, um, a Loom video, any documents, SharePoint. You're seeing lots of options there, LinkedIn site. Um, and so as long as you can get the link to it, it can embed it as an entire page of of your um, of your space. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that we're playing with this quite a bit now, as far as how we're managing it. And so it could be on a page or it could be its own uh, content element. Um, and sometimes you just actually need to attach documents to the page itself. Um, from a governance standpoint, we could say if the living document lives somewhere else, we would link to it. But certainly there are times when you can have images in your document. Here is an image that's added, and there's a feature in Cloud that you can actually word wrap to either to the right or to the left of the text itself. Um, this is an attachment macro called the PDF macro, where you have a PDF attached to the page, and then you can actually display it almost as if you're looking at a PowerPoint or a slide deck where you can scroll through and see the document. You're not editing, but you can actually visualize it from there. There's also something called the attachments macro. And the attachments macro is a tool that you can um, um, attach the files to this page, but you don't have to just visualize them with thumb points on your page itself. You can actually have this macro that shows you everything that you've attached to it, that gives your readers the ability to select and view or download any of those files. You can even control this with you can sort by the file type. You could sort by labels. You could choose to not show certain documents that are in there, but a great tool for managing your attachments in there. Now, I've used the word macro, and macro can sometimes be an intimidating phrase for those that are not developers or work with software as a designer, in fact. But macro, from Confluence's standpoint, is really means that it's a way to help visualize content or to help navigate in your content. And then you may also find that there are third-party tools that you're adding to your Confluence instance that can do additional functions, connecting to external information, etc. And so let's demystify let's take the fear out of the word macro. And so here are some highlights of some of my favorite macros that are in there. This one is called the info panel or panel macro. And it comes built in with its own icons, success, info, warning, note, error. But this also has the ability for you to either choose to have no macro or no icon, and you can even change the color, or you can use an emoji for your icon. It's a way then to really have background color behind your text if you wanted to. We're starting to experiment a lot more with that lately in our documentation, so that just it draws the eye to have something in there. Um, there's something called a status macro, which is really you create this what Atlassian calls a lozenge that is text behind it. We use this on our status pages where we're saying where we are on the uh, in the project or on the task. Are we on time? Are we behind or whatever? Is it completed? Is it in progress? We have lots of options that are on there that you can do. One of our favorite macros is called the expand macro, which you give it a title and then you put the content inside of it. And what it helps you do is to manage the vertical scrolling space of your page, because you could place things like your several policies on the same page. Or one of the examples that we have is that um, your QA team has their process that they work on, and and it involves 5 or 6 steps. Uh, uh, of the processes. Well, once the team learns what those are, they can just simply know that by the name of the process. But anytime they need to know what the steps are, they can simply expand it to see further what they need to do. So a great tool again for managing um, just content itself. Um, and then there are ways to help with navigation. There is a table of contents macro. There's also something called a page tree. And this is not even looking at this space. This is showing me the pages from another space that's on there. So a great way to help people navigate to other places that you want them to see from what's in there. Um, and then there are all kinds of other macros available for helping you um, uh, again, format the text or help navigate within your spaces itself. What what makes Confluence a standout, though, in this arena of Atlassian products, though, is how tightly it integrates with Jira itself. And just out of the box, there's some great things that you can do with this, um, um, where you can show Jira information in real time, and so they can see the actual information from there. So, for instance, you could have a link to a Jira issue, and this is the embedded version. You could actually you have like the others, you have the URL, you have the inline, you have the card. I love this idea though, is that not only can you embed a Jira issue, so I just was in the Jira project, I copied the issue key link and then pasted it into this Confluence page. And this is what I see. I actually see the full edit view screen of the issue so that I can apply. And this is editable. As long as I have rights to the project, I can actually uh, progress this and it writes to the issue in the project itself. So great tool. I love this enhancement that just came out. But here it is as a card where you can also you can see it, you can navigate to it if you want to. You can also progress on this one. Again, presuming I have permission to do so. And you notice I don't have the project permission to do that one, but I do have the project permission to comment on this one. Um, and it goes the other way too. So this is copying directly um, uh, from a Jira project. But let me show you another thing that you can do, and that is you can write to Jira by selecting text. And you notice before I had the ability to comment, but I also have the ability to create a Jira issue. And this particular feature was resumed, got was greatly enhanced just a few months ago, where I actually see the create screen. Before, I really only had the opportunity to see the summary and the description field and not much else. Now I can actually go in and select the project, the type, and fill out the full create form. So this to me is a great tool. I love this. Uh, particular feature as well, and you can uh, write to Jira. So again, we're surfacing Jira here. There's other built-in macros. This is called a filter results list, where it's showing me the issues um, from a filter from a JQL search. This is the exact same search as a Jira pie chart. And you can see those things. And so, and then lastly, before I move on, is you have the ability to have labels on your document. This is important for especially for your knowledge base articles, which gives you the opportunity to, if with proper labeling, those labels then can help the article surface when a customer is making a request on your help portal. It'll make suggested articles to display, and a great tool. And that's done using labels. Um, and then if your Confluence administrator has these features turned on, it can also show you related content based on an algorithm of what other people have clicked, or if it's also been labeled or tagged. This is where you're going to find those things. So we've looked at a lot of features very quickly. I know, I understand, between text formatting, layouts, tables, linking, attaching, some of the macros that are in here. Let me kind of show you an example of what that might look like in a particular context. And in this case, the context is going to be um, when we work with our clients on our IT projects, we often will create what's called an engagement page that is utilized during weekly sync meetings and or anytime the stakeholders need to see the progress from that, they can come to this particular page or this particular space and see what's going on. And it starts with this idea of what's the project dashboard itself. And this is placing all those features together. So what we're seeing then is a table. There's the status macro. This is in a two-column layout. A Confluence premium feature is calendaring, where you can embed a calendar. You can also uh, if you already have an ICO file, you can sync to an external calendar from there. We use this for our project teams just to notify our clients of company holidays or when people are going to be away. We can also put in uh, major events that are going to be taking place, like a release or a sprint. We can also have that in there. Um, this is a link to Atlas, and if you haven't dealt with Atlas yet in your Atlassian ecosphere, it's a planning tool that allows you to develop projects from there. Um, be happy to discuss that with you in a future topic from there. You can also embed things from Jira Premium is advanced roadmaps plans, and this is a link to that plan. It is a read-only plan, but it is expandable, so I can expand um, the uh, and the issues and see their child issues underneath them based upon whatever the view was that was there. And then if I want to actually go see those things, I can click the link and it would take me to the Jira plan itself where if I needed to interact with it. But a great visualization tool, really great, cool for being able to see those. And then they've included a few extra tools that are on here. You can even switch views from here. Um, these additional functions I've really only seen in the last 3 or 4 months, where I can actually change the view. I can turn on or off warnings, change the view settings itself from the macro in the issue. It's in the Confluence page. Again, these are at the end those Jira issues. This was a, a JQL search, and what's nice about this then is it's not just the issues that you're seeing, but what Confluence allows you to do is to give it context. You're able to say not only show the data, but tell them what the data is. And so that's why we consider, while the work itself obviously lives in Jira, we think maybe your reporting location might be Confluence. Yes, your working team is probably going to stay in Jira, and they're going to use a Jira dashboard to visualize the data from there. But your stakeholders, your project office, your C-suite might come here and see that what you're seeing then is not only the info but context. You can tell them, you can help interpret things, what to look for. Um, and so again, here is searching tools that this is a filter that's based upon a particular um, tag um, label that was placed on this, and then the exact same one is used again over here as the pie chart macro. So people can not only see the data, they can also see a visualization so that people who interpret information in different ways can help them have a more comprehensive view of what's going on. So again, you're seeing that panel macro. Here is that uh, attachment macro. So in this example, we would say, okay, if we had like say a monthly update meeting with the stakeholders, uh, then what we might do then is after the meeting, capture this entire page as a PDF because these update every time you access the page. This is real, this is live data. This could be if you wanted to see where we were at a particular uh, week or month, you could capture the entire page as a PDF and then use the attachments macro from there. Again, here is our expand macro. We typically use this with our clients as a summary of the statement of work so that at any time people need to know what is the actual focus of this particular engagement, they always have that ability to come and check on the um, on that particular side. So um, all of this is pretty easy to set up. It's easy to update. It's a great tool that we think for using your reporting capabilities in Confluence from there. I'm scanning my notes real quick just to see if I can missed anything. And so this is our typical um, IT engagement page. Uh, but as I mentioned at the beginning in the introduction, um, we are finding in organizations that more and more groups that are not IT are also finding this valuable. Uh, One, they're finding Jira valuable to manage their projects, but then they're also finding Confluence valuable to manage the content, the information, the meeting notes, the policies, all those kinds of things can be done from there. And so I want to take you to another site to show you what a non-IT team might do. But before I do that, just to show you the multiple pages here. This is where, so that's the project dashboard. Uh, Depending upon how we have the engagement set up, here is our contact page, the risk register for the project. This is where we might store our meeting notes, and this is using a meeting notes template that's in there. And then if we are talking about our the solution documentation for if this is going to be a new installation of Jira or Atlassian products, if this is going to be a migration from data center to cloud, whatever that happens to be, or if it's a true uh, agile adoption within the organization, then we might place in there what we're working on so that we can see those things. And then so like the agile team playbooks could also be in there as well. So I just wanted to see how it's not just a single page, but what all you might place into uh, your engagement page. Now let me take you to another space, and this one is using this one is the marketing department. And let me kind of show you some of the pieces that they have. First off, you're seeing very common macros that are on here. Here is your page tree, so you can navigate the pages from there. And then a recently updated list is kind of nice too, so that people can see what's the latest new information that's in the page itself. Um, Meet the team page. This is actually is a template. We didn't have to invent this, but it's using layouts and colored. I believe this is a table, and then just simply text, and then this is the latest updates, and then this is just simply formatted links. These are using your emojis from there and getting access to those things. Uh, there's a meet the team uh, uh, part of this template, and so you can see the people that are in here, the calendar, etc. And then they would have a project dashboard. Now, this marketing group has um, five different uh, project teams working within the marketing department. And this is a macro called page summary that can, and it's collecting information from the child pages beneath it, and it's summarizing these things so you can see that information. But each individual group also has their own project dashboard page that they can see. It's very similar to what you saw on the engagement page, but however they want it to be managed from there. Um, they're also using the meeting notes. And by the way, this is a template. I believe there are about 140 plus templates now available in Confluence Cloud for any number of types of pages you might have. So we really like the meeting notes one. There's also a weekly meeting notes, but there's all kinds of templates that you might want to consider using. There's lots of stuff to consider. Um, uh, Five whys, decision trees, etc. There's all kinds of stuff that's in there. Um, and then other things that we can do with this. Um, this is an embedded Miro board. And so if you're using Miro for your whiteboarding, you have that ability to do that. Um, This is a Trello board. If you're not familiar with Trello, Trello is a fairly simple task management board. Actually has a lot of nice features that you can use um, for simple projects to work on. Um, a couple of my colleagues use Trello for their own personal life management, and so you'll find that it's um, a great a tool for that as well. And then embedding documents. Again, these are not in the on the page itself. They are embedded from, in this case, a Google Docs location. You can also integrate with your SharePoint or Microsoft Teams if you have that. There are macros available to do that as well. Um, and so you're seeing then just hopefully useful ways that this tool is uh, being used. Um, I want to talk about a couple of the other new features that are coming up as well. But first, let me just take a moment to tell you a little bit about Valiantys. Thank you for joining us. Um, but uh, but who we are, uh, Valiantys is a Platinum Solutions partner. And what that means is we're at the highest tier of the Atlassian partner program. We're a and Valiantis is a global organization. We're the largest platinum partner for Atlassian right now, so we're considered a premier partner. Um, and we end up what we do is a couple of things, four or five things, a dozen things. Um, our largest elements of what we do is we offer training opportunities like this every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Is we offer a webinar like this on a number of topics that we do, and then we'll frequently have additional webinars offered sometimes in the same week from there. We also can do uh, uh, both public and private training courses. I'm flying through this content, but we actually have an all-day Confluence boot camp where attendees not only get to see it, but they get to log into and touch and hands-on work with Confluence itself. So these things that I'm showing you here, you actually get to do in that particular class. And so we can do that both public classes and private classes from there. Um, we have quite a bit of training opportunities that are on the page, and there's a link now that you'll see in the chat window. Um, we can see what's happening from there. A lot of our content is free, but we also have several premium options that we can customize for your actual organization's needs as well. Um, we also can help with the licensing of your Atlassian products. Um, and so uh, if there ever is a discount, we would have access to those things, but really just helping you manage, getting the right tier, getting the right license type, managing when renewals are up, we can help with that as well. And then we do a lot of consulting. So once someone has um, acquired their Atlassian ecosphere, how to set it up, how to configure, how to migrate, how to herd the cats. We do a lot of that. We're happy to help with those kinds of things. We're right now still in the midst of doing a lot of data center to cloud migrations, which is a very common thing that's happening. Um, we can just simply do a health check. You're looking at your Atlassian ecosphere. How is it doing? What are the pain points? How can we potentially help from there? And then we can also do custom development. You've got another tool that you're trying to have talk to your Jira instance, um, or you're trying to integrate any of these number of tools. We've done a lot of custom development. We have a full stack development team that can build custom solutions that some have been Atlassian award-winning custom solutions um, that some of our largest clients have used, and so um, um, happy to talk about that. Um, and then the last thing I want to talk about is our YouTube channel. Um, so, for instance, like this session is being recorded and at some point will be put up on there. So our weekly ones. So if you have stakeholders that need to see information about Atlassian, even about us, um, this is a no commitment, easy place to come and take a look at it. And we have our consultants love to share what they learn. That's the biggest thing, is that we love to learn and then we love to help others learn, see what we've learned about. And so we've got uh, not only the regularly scheduled webinars, but then just somebody, somebody says, "Hey, I come up with an idea about making comments visual using automation in Jira, or how to develop customer satisfaction surveys in JSM." Um, and so all of this content is available. It ranges in the 5 minute to 2 hour kind of sessions. Please feel free to avail yourself to this. We'd love we love to share this stuff, and this entire channel is free for your consumption. Um, okay, let's talk then about a couple of other things here. Looking at the page again, if you were using this as a knowledge base for it doesn't have to be connected to a JSM project, but it certainly ties in well that. Um, there are great templates for knowledge base articles to allow you to do that and tag in there. But let me show you a couple of the other pieces that come um, with your premium license that are in there. This is called a database view. And it's in this case, I just did it from a Jira project, but you have the ability to add um, all different types of fields that are in this for organizing things. But this one is actually looking at the issues. Um, if you are familiar with the list view in a Jira Cloud project, that's what this is beginning to emulate. And I'm thinking we're going to probably see some new things uh, come from this. But from this, you can create new issues from here. Uh, However you want to filter this is the ability to do so. Um, the editing capabilities are not quite as strong, but they're getting there. But you can simply go directly to the issue. So you see, I had the ability to progress from here. So interesting tool. We're still kind of finding the sweet spot of where this is going to be used, but it's a nice way, especially if you're trying to connect it to a Jira project. It's another way to integrate from there. Um, and then whiteboarding. So I showed you a Miro board that we at Valiantys we love Miro, but um, last year Confluence added a whiteboarding feature, and I will tell you, this is getting more and more fully featured with every month as far as what it's capable of doing. And first off, there are several different templates that you can choose for your whiteboard. So depending upon the type of uh, design think you're working on, you can have different templates that are in there. Then you have the ability to make connections, lines, text boxes. Uh, Link to a Jira issue, stamps, other links. And so there's a lot of things you can do with this particular one that a lot, especially if you're used to something like Miro, it's really picking up on a lot of the features that you can have it in there. And then if you have a premium license to Confluence, you have an unlimited number of whiteboards that you can have access to. So um, uh, again, we're making that slow transition to where we might be doing some of those things from there. And then another, you've seen the calendar before, but calendar is a premium feature that you can either build a new one or connect to an existing external calendar from there. Um, and that's all in the ability to have the premium features. There's also something called analytics that premium comes with, which can tell you, well, hits has this page has in the last month, what's the most popular pages of the space, who's the main contributor, etc. Um, so those are a couple of those other features. I'm starting to run out of time. I need to move. I want to talk about a couple of other things too, and that is um, AI and automation. So we've talked about whiteboards, we've talked about databases, we talked about smart links, which are the other types of pages now that you can have on there. If your Confluence well, first off, it has to be premium, but if your Confluence administrator has enabled AI, a couple of things that AI can do for you, and among them is the summarize. It can actually, especially if it's a lengthy page, it will quickly review the page and it will um, summarize it for you. Um, uh, AI in Atlassian products is relatively new. And so what I'd say is this is still a work in progress, but we're impressed with what we have seen so far. So that's kind of cool. The other thing I want to show you is automation rules. A um, a space can have automation. So if I am the space administrator, I can go in space settings and into automation. And first off, there are several built-in ones that are really, really useful as far as giving you ideas or even utilizing themselves. If there are any repetitive tasks that you do on your Confluent space, let's see if automation can do that for you. For instance, and this is a really simple one, but you have a weekly meeting. You could have an automation rule that already sets up the meeting notes page for that meeting on the schedule. So if it's a Thursday at 11 meeting, it knows that and will build the page before your meeting starts. Simple things like that, but great ways to update Jira, to collaborate with other people. And I'm telling you, this list gets longer every time I come back to this. Plus, you can also create your own example, your own list. And then there is the Confluence Automation Library, which is an external link. So you can see what other people are doing with their automation rules. So great, fun tools. Again, really useful to help you um, 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 organize your space. Speaking of organizing space, and I got a few minutes left, um, I do want to talk about the idea of governance. Um, we actually have available on our YouTube channel. There actually was a recent one on governance. There it is, talking about all Atlassian products, but in particular with um, with Confluence. You're seeing it's a highly extensible tool, which means that if you do not have any concept of governance in your instance, you could really create some a mess. Let's just say it that way. Um, if you don't have governance, as my colleague likes to say, you simply amplify the dysfunction. And so uh, one of the things that we love having that conversation with our clients about is as we are helping them set up their process, we talk governance a lot. And um, governance involves really two basic ideas. And that is you want to have uh, you want to reduce duplication. So you want content to be in a single location. And you also want to be uh, uh, structured in a fashion that people can find easily. So you're standardizing on the content of the space itself, naming conventions, page setup, etc. And then permissioning who gets to do this kind of stuff and, create new spaces, create new pages. Those are serious questions that we have with our clients when we're talking about Confluence. And there is no hard and fast answers. It really is dependent upon how your organization is structured and how you work. And so um, the iron triangle of you start with who you are, your people, and then you look at what your processes are, and then finally you configure the tool to how it's going to work. And Confluence is very flexible to meet almost any type of organizational structure to do so. And if we can help with doing that, we'd love to at least just have an initial conversation with you about those things. Okay, I've talked a lot. I've covered a lot of information. I have gone over a lot of things about Confluence in just an hour. And so, um, so first off, I want to say thank you for being with me, for sticking with me all this time. But I just want to also see at this point is were there any questions? I'm going to go to the Q&A, or if you have anything that you'd like to put in there um, in the last couple of minutes before we do it, just to see if there's anything I can uh, answer specifically for you. Um, Common questions that we get is about things like, do you want to use what are called public links, where you can expose a page to the public um, versus just limited to your organization? And Confluence can do both of those. It is managed by the Confluence administrator as to whether or not something can be public or not. Um, you can also manage internally who sees a space or who sees a page or who can edit a page. All of those things are fairly granular as far as who has permissions to do so. The space admin has space settings where they can check those things and manage that. You can also do it at the page level. So you've got the space is open to your entire organization, but you could restrict a page to just a few people to do so. Um, Question about um, uh, because this is cloud, stuff changes all the time. I did want to kind of point you to um, there is a What's New in Confluence Cloud page on Atlassian's site, and then there's also a link to the cloud release blog. And let me put that in the chat. If you're wanting to keep up, the Atlassian cloud ecosphere changes rapidly. Um, I had to make sure I spent time um, uh, before this webinar just to make sure that I didn't miss anything that what's happening with this and um, because there are new features or updated features almost every other week in Atlassian ecosphere. And in Confluence, there's actually been several things that have shown up over the last year that are pretty impressive. So I just want to make you aware of that uh, that's on there. Um, and I don't see any other questions. And so again, I guess what I want to do then is just say thank you for joining us. I hope this has been helpful. And if this can lead to a conversation with us in the future about possibly working together, that would be terrific. If not, I hope that you found this hour beneficial to you in your understanding of Confluence and how it is part of the Atlassian world. And again, thank you, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.